Okay, with me here this afternoon on YTV, it's none other but one of South Africa's esteemed soccer player, analyst, and sport and mind coach, Nhlanhla Kubeka. Nhlanhla, welcome to the show.
Welcome, my prince. Thank you very much for inviting me to do this interview with you.
And you're on YTV, one of the biggest platforms, on social media and online TV. And Nhlanhla, take us through your journey. I mean, we all know that you're a retired soccer player and whatever. What's happening in and around your space at the moment?
In around my space, what's happening is I do scouting. I work with Dreamfield Project. And also I work with the Stars of Africa as under-16 coach. And also I do my own project. I've got my own company. It's Kubeka Sports and Mind Coach. I deal with the aspect of human behavior.
Yeah, I'm also made to believe that, part of what you do is you help the soccer players with recovery programs, some of the players that have gone on long-term injuries, rehabilitation, and so forth. Take us through that journey, how do you get that aspect right?
The most important thing about that aspect is your mindset, your decision making. So to me, that's very important. So I do help them with that aspect, self-realization, because once you actually engage them with using that mindset, using those tools that would anchor into your mind and all that helps a lot in terms of having to recover quickly also from injuries. Because remember, once a player gets into a certain emotional experience, then there is a certain element that as coaches who have studied NLP will be able to assist them in terms of having to give them a certain program. Because there are other resources or people that I work with, and we take them to certain programs that will actually prepare them to heal quickly and prepare them for, let's say, the setback of being in an injury. How do you cope when you're a football player or professional footballer when you find yourself in those kind of conditions? So we prepare them, and then when you come back to the game, they are well much prepared. They are looking forward to play more, and they have a desire to do better when they come back.
Cleo, a whole lot of players, seem to retire and be seen, to have lost out, on the good life after. And what could you kind of like attribute that to, that we're seeing players, I know yourself, Lucas Radebe, you've been seen to retire and still be able to live the good life, being role models and whatever. What's the cardinal point in going about this and getting it right?
What I can say is I believe that when you are still playing, you must plan ahead. You must have goal settings. You must be disciplined. You must focus. You must always try to align your energy to be in balance and all the time. And once you think ahead, think about your future. And hence I'm saying one of the aspects or tools that I used for myself is to be a dreamer. To set yourself goals. Once you set yourself goals, it's easier for you to deal with the processes because you know that you are being defined by the vision of the future. So once you're being defined by the vision of the future, even the challenges that you may meet along the way, you are able to deal with them much better. Because at the end of the day, we cannot play football for the rest of your life, and you'll never be at the peak of your life at all times. But once you are able to equip yourself with necessary tools that will actually bring yourself together and be able to handle your life, then it is easier for you to actually engage or go beyond the problems or obstacles that you can encounter into your life.
Two of the soccer teams that you managed to represent, that is Kaizer Chiefs and Wits, are involved in a bitter battle, to try and bring about this Supreme title this year. Who would you personally vouch for, to say, bring it home,
Well, I've always been a Makosi, black and gold. I think it's in my blood. I'm an African, if I can put it this way also. So I associate myself more with Kaizer Chiefs. And not to take this away from Vets. Vets are playing good football, and obviously I also like to give them a credit in terms of I've been into that space, and they've given me an opportunity to exhibit my talent.
Yeah.
So I've got a soft heart with them as well, and I really appreciate what they've done for me.
Yeah.
And I still believe that Chiefs have an opportunity
to finally bring it home.
It's up to them. It's up to the players also. You know,
Yeah.
I believe in union.
Yes.
I believe in unity.
Yes.
So if they believe more into themselves as a collection, as a unity, they can bring it home.
Yes.
It's just that it's unfortunate that they had to go through this slump, a little bit of a slump, but they need to do a self-reflection quickly, and then boom.
And,
they'll manage basically to turn around and give positive results.
As one of the standout defenders for Kaizer Chiefs during their campaign in the Mandela Cup, you're actually a Mandela Cup winner, isn't it?
Yeah.
And defending, you know, how big an art is that? You know, what could you say brings about the difference in the way you guys did defending then and now? I still know Kaizer Chiefs are into the art of saying, you know, we're doing zonal marking. Is it working? Does it work?
It's a combination of the two. Basically what needs to happen, or what one needs to know or think about, is you must be proactive in your game. Mm-hmm. And I think that also experience pays. Mm-hmm. And also prepare yourself, you know, because each and everything that happens, it's about the decision making. Yes. So you need to be able to read the game. Yes. You know, that's the most important thing. Use your own intuition. Yes. So with me, I've always, like, throughout my career, I've always loved the whole aspect of my mental strength and all that. You know, I always try by all means to actually take myself or anchor into my mind and bring that aspect of my own spirituality, own psychology and all that. So my intuition will guide me in phases, do this, do that, do that. So I think I was highly intuitive, and I think I was lucky also to use that kind of a resource or an element that will effectively have an impact positively upon my game during that time.
Having had the time to spend, you know, staying and living in the coast, you know, in Cape Town, take us through that as part of your journey. I mean, today we're meeting about the Amstel Timeless Journey. Take us through that journey.
Living in the coast, it was a great experience, honestly, and I loved Cape Town. It's a very beautiful city, very beautiful province. You can just roam around, drive through the coast from coast to coast. You go to Paarl, you go to Stellenbosch, you go to stay in Cape Town, you go to the other side of Cape Town. So it's very huge. I really loved it. And I think it's one of those destinations whereby you'll want to come and you'll want to go and visit frequently. Yeah.
And Nhlanhla,
mind you, I loved water. So.
Yeah. You know, there's that aspect that, you know, 9 out of 10 times, you know, probably with you've been following the George Maluleka story, that, you know, the fans tend to have, you know, that love-hate relationship when a player signs a pre-contract with another team whilst he still have 4 or 5 months to run, you know, before the end of his contract. What's your view on this? You know, not necessarily looking at George per se, but looking at that aspect of you having to sign up a pre-contract with another team 4 or 5 months before the end of your tenure. What does that do, you know, to you as a player and to the fans, you know, the supporting crowd?
It's football, it's life, and I believe that when supporters behave like that, they are passionate about the football club, they are passionate about teams, they are passionate about certain individuals and so forth. So I think it is one of those unfortunate scenarios whereby you signed a pre-contract with other teams and yet you still belong to this team. So we need to find a compromise. What led this player to actually go to seek greener pastures elsewhere? So once you find those nitty-gritties in between, then you are able to find understanding to say, oh, okay, then it's fine. We understand what was going through this player's mind, or maybe there was no engagement enough in terms of having to settle the issues of contracts and so forth. So you need to understand all those aspects, and you find understanding once you get to know what was happening.
What do you think Coach Molefintseki needs to do in order to get things right with Bafana so that we qualify for major events like AFCON as well as the World Cup? You know, have you watched the Champions League match? We watched players like Thomas Partey doing very well, you know, for Atletico Madrid and whatever. Do you think we're doing enough in terms of exporting our players and so that they can get involved in the big leagues and whatever? Is there a factor, you know, in a future Bafana doing well by getting more players to play in the big leagues?
Look, Prince, I think football has evolved. It's a huge space. There's lots of issues that are involved. But I believe that in order for him to be successful also, he needs to consult.
Yes.
He needs to strike a relationship with other coaches in South Africa.
Yes.
So that they can have their input and help him, you know,
Yes.
in order for him to get positive results and be able to deal, because there are many experiencing coaching that have lots of experience who have actually gone through the path.
Yes.
So if he can actually engage them,
Yes.
seek advices, make a research, and bring other people on board. I think SAFA needs to bring other people on board in terms of having to consult, because nowadays you don't work as an individual.
Yes.
You know, there's 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 or 10 minds is better than one.
Yes.
You know, there's this book that I read, it talks about the mastermind group.
Yes.
Once you find yourself into that environment or condition whereby you consult or your coaches, whereby there's many of you, then results they tend to come, you know, because there's different expertise. You know, somebody's stronger on this point, somebody's stronger than this point. So when you use those brains collectively, then you are able to deal with the environment much better than when you are alone.
Yeah.
So Ntseki, what he needs to do, he needs to consult and also engage your players also, because you find out there's players who apply their trade overseas. Ask them what are those elements that you are using in order for you to improve, and those teams that are using those mechanisms or dynamics in terms of running a day-to-day of what's happening in the camp and so forth. So those are the things that he needs to ask from those players and use them effectively so that he can boost and change the environment in the camp.
Nhlanhla, tell me, lifestyle and nutrition, how does one strike a balance? Because, you know, I've been told that you're one that doesn't just eat anything, selective with food and so forth. How does that lead, you know, into lifestyle to be intertwined and making you that role model individual?
Well, as an individual, Prince, I believe in energy. I believe in green, in green stuff, herbs. I believe in finding myself being associated with an environment that will actually affect change, that will impact change towards my life. So nutrition is very key. It's very key, especially when you eat green stuff, especially when you drink a lot of water. Because once you drink a lot of water, what water does stimulates your brain. What the green stuff does, it brings that element of vitality. It stimulates your brain. There's less anxiety that will be in between you. You know. So lifestyle, it's very, very, very essential that you look at, that you are conscious about those elements that I'm bringing. There's this quote that I like, that's, you are what you eat. So that's very important. So that have a good impact or a bad impact into your life. So as an individual, you need to be conscious about your space, your environment, your thinking, your emotions, your behavior. How do you adapt into an environment? So that those elements are very key in terms of shaping you to live a particular lifestyle.
How it's been like, you know, being someone that comes from Davidton, you know, and you know, there's quite a number of characters like your Jabo Mahlangu, you know, the Pirates player now that has just moved to Islands Park, Musa Nyatama, being in that space and having to be role models. How is it like?
Well, I'll talk a bit about my background, because you must understand that you develop a certain personality based on where you come from. Background is very key. But I must say that coming from Davidson and having to, as you've mentioned, Jabu Mahlango, there's lots of guys that I can mention. Spusiso Mazibuko, those are the guys whom I started playing football with at the early ages, under 10, 12. You know, I can share a story about them and so forth. And we always remind each other to say, hey, you remember we started playing football at the age of 10, 12, and look at what's happening now. We are still friends. But to mention a few, I think that we come from a township where football is highly rated because we've made Davidson into a map of saying it must be recognized in that element that you say what if it has produced the best football players ever, especially my generation. So that alone, it's a big plus when you look at the history of football in the Ekurhuleni.
What do you think Coach Pitso does right into always doing well in the CAF Champions League, going that far, and how significant is that tournament playing in Africa?
You know, one of the I don't know when, but I heard Coach Pitso in one of his interviews. He mentioned that he doesn't sleep.
Ahead of a game.
He doesn't sleep. He studies, he makes a research, he gathers knowledge, and he gives. So meaning he imparts his knowledge to his own players. Because you can see that there is a good relationship with his players. He knows how to engage them. And you can see also his players, they are very smart, they are very wise, they are very intelligent. So with the kind of coach that he is, and hence I mentioned that he studies, he gathers knowledge, he makes a research and all. It's easier when you are a coach, when you do all those things in order for you to inject positive energy into your players and so forth. So I think that works well for Coach Pitso and Sundowns at the present moment.
Take me through your journey, into saying how important is it, that you become the role model you are into imparting knowledge to developing players, from that foundation phase, under 12, under 13, under 15 and so forth, What goes into your planning, and your technique into delivering the best outcomes for these youngsters?
I think one of those elements that I love, I'm so passionate about the development of youngsters. Knowledge is very key. Specialized knowledge is very key. And life skills are very important at their age. Because once you share this type of knowledge that I possess also, and always speak to them, give them tools that can actually enhance and improve their lives, because it is our duty to maximize potential. It is our duty to share knowledge so that we can actually change our boys so that they can, in future, become the best that they can be. So I'm very passionate when it comes to that in terms of sharing information, because one of the projects that I'm doing with Dreamfield is to share the knowledge and give tools to the youngsters. What is it that they need to do? Because I'm selling an idea of becoming a dreamer. Because there are two types of dreamers. It's either you become this dreamer that when you sleep, when you go to bed at night and you dream, when you wake up in the morning, you forgot about the dream, about what you were dreaming of. And number two, you become this dreamer, whereby you dream while you are walking, you dream while you are alive. So that when you use that second type of, when you become that second type of a dreamer, then it is easier for you to fulfill your dreams or your goals or your achievements in life. So I'm that type of a person who's very passionate in terms of imparting knowledge to the youngsters so that they can become the dreamers. And the most important thing also about that is to teach our children or our boys or an African child to set goals. Because once you set goals, you become this person who's in control of over your life.
What is your message to the viewers of YTV for 2020, your message of hope?
The message of hope to the viewers, I would say, is let's keep on dreaming. There's opportunities out there. We are living in a world of information and technology. So ignorance is a choice. So don't be ignorant, but seek information. And once you seek information, then you will evolve as a person, you'll expand your consciousness. And once you expand your consciousness, guess what? The universe will bring abundance into your life.
Thanks for your time, Jay.